All praises to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. This is going to be a lesson going into how the women of Israel lack understanding, man. All right, the women of Israel don't have no understanding, and they think that they're men, right? Because what happened here in this story, right, is that a husband and wife that are both around in their 50s. I can't exactly remember the ages. Husband and wife that are in around their 50s, right? And the woman that was in her 50s, the wife is in this picture in that circle and you can see in the middle of the screen, right? And her husband had another woman, right? That's 25, the woman that you can see on the two sides of the woman in the middle, right? So the woman comes home and sees another woman in her house or in the family shared home, right? And decides to beat the younger one, right? And then she shot her and killed her, right? Now, all the women in the comment board, or most of the women in the comment board, are saying that the younger woman deserved this, right? But it's pretty obvious that when the woman came home and saw another woman in her house, she didn't assume that the woman was stealing from her house, right? Because that's not really normally a thing that women do, where people see another woman in their house, right? And she wouldn't have had the spirit on her like she was coming to steal things. So the woman knew what was happening, right? So she was angry because she knew that her husband had got another woman, and that the woman was younger than her and prettier than her. Because it's clear, if you don't think that the woman on the right hand side and the left hand side, which is the same woman, is prettier than the woman in the middle, well, hey, everyone's got their own choice, right? But that stirred up something in her where she was angry because she knows that she can't get no man that's in his youth, that's in the strength of his youth anymore. But men can do that. And that's one of the reasons why women have got such a problem with the laws of Yahweh, because it will get rid of their thought in their mind that they're so special, man. Right? Because women can be special, right? But the thing that makes women special, which is their beauty, that fades, man. So then they have to eat the thing that really makes them be special, which they don't want to do, no matter how much the women try and claim about the scriptures, is be like the Proverbs 31 woman. But how many of these women that claim to be about the Bible ever do that? Or do they end up deciding that they want to try and be prophets instead and want to try and do the man's thing with that the Bible talks about? They never try and say, you know what, I'm about the scriptures and be a Proverbs 31 woman. And the most of the women in this comment section, as you're going to see, they're saying that this younger woman deserved to die. But if we followed the laws in this society and among our people, this woman wouldn't, in fact, the woman wouldn't have killed this younger woman. She would have found him. She would have found her for her husband, man. She would have been like, you know what? I'm getting old now. I don't even want to do that kind of stuff that much no more. So I'ma find my husband or a next wife, so that need of his can be fulfilled, because I know I ain't got the ability to fulfill that anymore. But do women in this society do that? No. They get old, strained out, right? And they want you to now be old and strained out because they're old and strained out, man. Because most of these women out here that don't really love their husbands, man, right? Most of these women out there that don't like their man, that don't love their husband, they're miserable. So they want your ass to be miserable too. Yeah. And I'm gonna go into the scriptures, man, and I'm gonna show that it says in the Bible that a man can have more than one wife. And any of you women out there that have got a problem with it, find another God to worship, man. Right? And any of you men that are getting emotional about how it says that as well, the Bible gives a man the option of whether he wants to have more than one wife. It doesn't say that his wife gets to tell him that he can't do it. The Bible says that a man can do it. So if any of you men have got a problem with it too, well, really, then you're weak, bruh. Because that's none of your business. If another man decides he wants to have more than one wife, you can have one then. And that goes for the kingdom too. If in the kingdom you decide that you want to have one wife, well, that's your business. That's your business, man. But if this law would have been kept, that younger woman would still be alive, and that marriage would have been happier. But now that woman's going to be more than likely going to jail, and the husband's going to still be able to go out there and get more wives anyway. But if she would have been finding wives for him, because she knows his taste, she knows what she would have looked like. That woman probably looks like what she used to look like when she was 25. But she was like, you ain't gonna do that. You ain't gonna do me wrong. And she decided to kill that younger woman, man. You know that's what she did, man. She didn't think that one was stealing from her house. Deuteronomy chapter 21 and verse 15. If a man have two wives, one beloved and one hated, and they have borne children, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son that was hers was hated. So I'm not even going to read all of this law, but the point is that you can have two wives, and really you can have more than two wives, man. Right? A man can have as many wives as he wants, right? But there's a thing that's he's supposed to have to look after them, right? Now, one of the things that a man seeks in his world is women. So if a man knows that nothing's going to hinder him, if he's got the ability to take care of wives and he can have as many wives as he wants to have, guess what? He's going to work harder in his life in general. And there's a whole trend of things going on in this world right now. There's a whole like community of people called MGTOW, men going their own way. And what this thing is about is men are like, man, women are bogged out. They don't give a crap about men. So we're just gonna do what we want to do and forget them. So they don't even work as hard as they would have normally because they're like, well, the women are trash anyway. So I'm just gonna live to sustain me, which I don't need as much. So I'm not gonna work nowhere near as hard. And then when you check it out on the news, there's a whole trend of men that are not really caring about their careers no more, no like that. And people can say if they want, oh, nah, these guys are just bums, they're lazy and all that. Well, if you want to say that, that's fine. If that's what you want to think, that's fine. But men don't need nowhere near as much stuff to be happy as women do. And if a man knew that no one's going to stop him and that it's going to be legalized for him to have as many wives as he wants, as long as he can take care of them, then the men that women so like to complain about not being financially this and not being financially that, would be more attractive financially also. But this society that we're living in is wicked anyway, man. Right? It's wicked anyway. And in the kingdom, even the heathen men are going to have the ability to have multiple wives. Even the heathen men, man. Because we're going to be a way more righteous ruler than this wicked ass society, man. We're going to allow the men to have a society that is actually nice to live in, man. But if they break the laws of Yahweh and commit adultery and things like that, then we're going to show them what time it is, man. This is 1 Kings chapter 11 and verse 3. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. Now, this is what women will try and read to say, oh, I see. So if he wouldn't have had multiple wives, they wouldn't have turned away his heart. Guess what? How many wives does it say in the Bible that Job had, man? It don't say multiple. But didn't his wife try and turn away his heart? Didn't she try and say to him, curse the Most High and die? So don't try and make it like, oh, because he had multiple wives, that's the reason. It's because he listened to them. That was the reason that he fell. Not because of how many wives he had. And most of you Israelite women out there are wicked and bugged out anyway. And I'm going to go to the comment section of this video, man, and you're going to see. You brothers are going to see, man. Right? So people are saying on this comment board, free her. Right? People are saying these married people, they don't honor their spouses or their vows, but they're lust for nature. Now, I wonder if this woman, which is more than likely a woman that's saying this, I wonder if she's been with the same man her whole lifetime. I doubt it, because most of the women of our nation, and most women, I don't even need to make it a thing about the women of our nation, man. Most women in general, when you get with them, they've been with loads of men before you, right? And if you was to, man, I ain't even gonna say that, man. I ain't even gonna say that line, man. I don't even need to take it there, man. But most of these women out here have not been with the same man their whole life, right? And when you get with women, there weren't no virgin, man. And most brothers, if they ever been with a virgin, was probably a teenager themselves. When they met that virgin, and haven't been with a virgin since, man. In most cases, right? Let me go and see. Let me go to these top comments, man. Right, messing around with a married man / woman is dangerous business. Now, what these women don't understand when it comes to adultery, right? What they don't understand is that it's actually not really possible for a woman to commit adultery against another woman unless it's a situation where, like, the mother sleeps with her daughter's husband or the sister sleeps with her sister's husband. Then that could be considered a woman committing adultery against another woman. Or if a close female relative sleeps, also shares her close female relative's husband, then it can be considered adultery. But for the most part, adultery, right, is when a man sleeps with another man's wife. Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 10. And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death, right? So you really, most of the time when adultery is being committed, it's being done because a man is sleeping with another man's wife. Now, I'm gonna be fair. When you go to Leviticus 18, you're not supposed, a man's not supposed to deal with a woman and their close female relatives, man. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 18. Neither shalt thou take a wife to her sister to vex her, to uncover her nakedness beside the other in her lifetime. So if the one other wife dies, then and you always thought her sister was pretty or even prettier, then you can deal with that other thing that's with the sister, but not while they're both alive, man. Now people might say, oh, but Jacob did that. Well, that's because Yahweh gave him the ability to do that. But don't think that you've got the ability of our forefather Jacob, man. Because you're not on that level more than likely. So don't risk it, man. Right? Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 19. Also, thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness as long as she is put apart for our uncleanness. And what's that talking about? Her menstrual cycle. Right? But in this world, that kind of grimy stuff happens, man. I saw that there was this guy, man. I took a screen record of that, man. There was a guy that came on that conscious community thing, Sarnetta's thing, and this guy was a demon, man. He was saying that it gives you power, and this guy is basically a witch, man. He was dressed in all black and all that. He was saying it gives you power to 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 um to basically ingest a woman's menstrual while she's right on the cycle, man. That's disgusting, bro. But he said that, and nobody in the comment section was really being like too much. Like, man, this guy's weird. This guy's weird. They were still trying to hear more, man, because our people are heavy into witchcraft, man, and that's why when you read Ezekiel the 8th chapter, Ezekiel's being shown all the wickedness that our people are doing behind the scenes, man. Showing how they're weird, they'll claim that they believe in Yahweh in the open, but really they believe in something else behind the scenes, man. Really down on some other things. We go back to this. It says, someone said the husband should definitely be held accountable just as well because he invited her to the house knowing damn well he was married. Now, this might seem a bit hypocritical, man, but if you would have switched the roles, right, and a wife invited another man to her house, right, I would agree with this statement because the adulterer and the adulteress are supposed to be put to death when somebody commits adultery. But a man is allowed to have more than one wife, man. And just look at the woman in the middle, right? She looks masculine as hell, man. She looks like she weighs a hell of a lot. And the other woman looks pretty, man. Now, it's very hard for a woman in her 50s to look good anyway, right? In my opinion, it's very rare to see that. But it's very common for a woman that's 25 years old to be looking at her best, damn near. And this woman was angry because of that, man. Because she probably looked similar to that when she was 25 and she knew exactly what it was, man. If us as men come home, right, and we see another man in our house, right, depending on the attire and how that person's dressed and all of that, we're gonna come to the conclusion that, man, that my woman's trying to commit adultery on me right now, or just has been, and rage in us is gonna build up. But it's mad that the women of our nation are trying to carry that same anger when our laws as Israelites state that men can have multiple wives, and women like men that have multiple wives anyway. Because most of the women that like men in this world, they like the man that has access to the most women, which is the reason why Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines, man. And them women wouldn't have been no harlots. They would have been women that were virgins. They would have been high quality women, man. In terms of that regard, anyway. So they said, yeah, the husband definitely should be held accountable just as well because he invited her to the house knowing damn well he was married. Now, I wonder if these women would apply that stuff to them when they commit adultery, man. Which you women are committing adultery more than men, by the way. Real adultery, man. According to the Bible. According to the Bible. And really, both of these women was judged, man. Let me take it to there. Let me be even more spiritual. Really, both of these women were judged because the 25-year-old was judged for something that she did wrong in her life, but so was the 50-year-old woman judged because now she's did that, but she's more than likely going to get some jail time, man. They ain't going to be able to play the husband committed adultery card more than likely. They ain't going to be able to get away with that. They ain't going to be able to get away with that. If she would have killed the man, they might have tried to play that because you know they already know they don't like the Israelite man. You already know they don't like the Israelite man. And anytime he can get judged, they're down for it. And even our women are wicked like that, man. And they always want us to have to pay. But then they don't want to have to pay for every single relationship that they left. You know? They don't want to have to pay for all the times that they commit adultery. And let me see. Let me show you, man. Let me show you. You see? Even the person that made the channel said trifling POS, piece of shit, right? And it just shows, man, that these women, they're bugged out, man. They don't have any understanding. Because all of these women, or more than likely like 70% and more of the women in this comment section have not been with the same man that they've been with for their whole life. So they've all committed adultery themselves. I don't understand why people never go after the person who actually cheated on them and instead attacks the spouse's secret lover. It makes no sense to me, right? But of course women are going to say that because they don't want to then be in a situation where they get killed if they accidentally, as they would claim, accidentally go for a man that's got a woman. But women love trying to deal with men that have got women, man. When any of you brothers out there have been walking down the street with your woman, right? When you might have took her somewhere nice or something like that, right? And you're both dressed up more nice than normal. You've already noticed that all of a sudden now, way more women are starting to try and be attracted to you because you're walking down with your woman and your woman probably looks better than she normally does, right? Women love doing that. So let's not make out like women are just these innocent kittens out here that have never did nothing wrong to nobody, man. Nah, that's not true, man. Women love trying to deal with men that have got other women. And when you even see all these podcasts that's the new trend in this world, it's showing that most of you women are freaks too, man. You're on that alphabet stuff, man. And a lot of you women that come on there, when you get asked, is your man allowed to have another woman? Some of you actually go and say, yeah. But one of the stipulations that you weird freaks try and put on that is that, oh, but you want to be able to be in the mix of things. But that's wicked though, because now you're committing sins unto death. What makes you think your husband wants you in there, man? You weirdos, man. This stuff makes me angry, man. It makes me angry because our women don't have no understanding, man. And that's why a lot of them are going to get judged, man. There's going to be a lot of judgment flying around at the women of our nation, man. Let me read this one. There should be a law against those that knowingly invite someone to their home where a homicide occurs. The husband should be charged with accessory to murder. Now, of course, these women are going to say this when a man's involved and a man's not getting no judgment. Of course, they're going to say this. But if this law was made, it would be way more women that are going to be getting judged than men. But women just change the laws according to their own emotion, man. That's what I've realized, man. Women just want one situation to be one way and then another situation to be one way. And that's why these women always talk like they're so for justice, right? But if you start talking about, well, I think abortion should be illegal then because that's killing of a baby in its fetal state. Oh, nah, my body, my choice, huh? I thought you was against murder. And that's another point to use on this video. All these women are so against homicide and so against murder, right? But how many of them in this comment section have probably killed an Israelite baby in their own womb? How many? These women are all over the place, man, and they'll talk like they're for justice, but then if you start talking about, yeah, and I also think that there should be mandatory DNA testing to make sure that the father is the father of the child that this woman's had. Oh, nah, I don't think that's right. Because you women are wicked, man. And let me get a scripture, man. Let me get a scripture. You women ain't got no understanding, man. You really think you're men out here. You women really think you're men. Some of these women, ask them, man. Ask them if you don't think that, they'll say it. Some of these women don't even think that a man that's a billionaire should be able to have more than one wife, man. That's how much little understanding women have got, man. Even our women. They don't even think if you got to the status of being a billionaire that you would deserve to have more than one wife, or they'd be having a problem with that. They'd have a problem if you became a billionaire having more than one wife, because they'd want access to all of your billions, even though they wouldn't be able to spend it in their lifetime, which shows that the majority of these women out here, they don't like their men. They don't want them to be happy. It sounds harsh, but they don't want them to be happy. They want them to be miserable like they are. They want the man to trade in his happiness so that they can be happy. But that's not what Yahweh's down for, though. Yahweh's rocking with the men. Micah chapter 7 and verse 10, man. Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 9. Rise up, you women are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women. For the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, you women are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teach, for the present fields, for the fruitful vine. They're going to be longing for the times where they was able to try and get men caught up because the man's got multiple wives, or because the man wants to have another woman. But then when a woman goes out of her way and gets another man, right? Women don't ever say none of this stuff. They always try and blame the man. Oh, maybe he did this, maybe he did that, maybe he wasn't never. They always understand the excuse because they want to be able to use that excuse in the future for themselves. And that's why women that might have not even had an abortion will say that they think a woman should have the choice because they want to have the choice to be able to have one if at any point in the future they need one, man. And that's what women do, man. That's what I've not started to notice that they do. That's one of their wickednesses, man. That they try and set up as many situations so that they can get some female privilege as possible, even if it means that wickedness has occurred. They don't care about righteousness, man. They don't care about nothing like that. Righteousness, things of that nature. Nah, they don't really care about that, man. That's what we care about as men. Isaiah chapter 4 and verse 1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take her our approach. So any of these Lucretias on here that have got a problem with men having more than one woman, right? Well, when it goes down, stay away from us then. Because we ain't going to be on none of that. We ain't going to be on none of that. Oh, women, do you think I've wanted another wife, babes? But what you saying? We ain't going to be on none of that. We're going to be, this is what I'm saying. Either get down with it or bounce. Try and see if you can find another Hebrew Israelite brother then that's not going to want multiple wives. But I don't think you will be able to do that. Because all of the men of the elect are going to have one mind, man. A righteous, kingly mindset. They're going to have a righteous, kingly mindset. They ain't going to be on no women can tell me what to do spirit, man. They ain't going to be on that. Let me read a few more of these, man. People have to stop putting other people's lives in danger. There is no way the girl deserves to die. But how are you bold enough to bring a side piece inside your home that you share with your spouse? Shake my head. So again, they just got all anger for the husband. But if these women understood the laws, mate, she would have found him that wife. He wouldn't have needed to be sneaking around and then be like, you know what, I'm tired of this sneaking around. I'm going to bring her to the house. He wouldn't needed to be doing all that. And if you brothers want to watch the video, man, maybe I'll put the link in the description, man. Maybe I'll put the link in the description box. But here's the title of the video. And this channel is called Black Girl Unlost. And let me just show you something, man. This whole channel is a continual, and let me just show what the video is, what the channel's about, in fact, what the person, it says, Black Girl on Lost spotlights the injustices of girls and women of color who have tragically lost their lives through senseless violence, deserve to be told, unforgotten, and unlost. These are their stories. But what I heard when I see that is this is a video at a YouTube channel about Israelite women getting judgment, man, right? Because this woman that died is not innocent. Let me say that. She's not innocent in terms of Yahweh's laws, man. And neither are any of these other women on there that have all these other women and all these other videos that have got judgment. They're not innocent, right? And it's always a certain type of look that these Israelite women have. That hood ratty kind of look, man. That new trend of female rapper look. That's normally the picture that's on most of these thumbnails, man. It's normally always a similar type of Israelite woman by appearance wise that seems to be getting these judgments, man. Just like how when you look at that Pookie and Ray Ray spirit that everyone talks about, there's a Shaquina and Laquanda spirit too, man. That all these Cardi B and all that. This Little Kim type vibe, man. So sad that young lady had her life ahead of her, only for it to be thrown away behind someone else's, man. Again, another woman that don't have no understanding, man. Now, if you switch the genders, I'm not gonna lie, that man deserves to be put down because a woman's not supposed to have two husbands. And the proof of that would be simply this. A woman cannot give both of those men children at the same time. But a man can give 1,000 wives, all children by him at the same time. He can put seeds in every single one of them, and they all have children for him around the same time frame, man. We would be within days, weeks, and months of each other. And if a man had 20,000 wives, right, and slept with all of them wives at least once, there's potential that after a year he'd have 20,000 children, man. That's not the case for women. One child a year, man. And after, according to the Bible, they're unclean 40 days if it's a male, and 80 days, I believe, if it's a female, man. So they're really out of commission for a whole year if they have a daughter, as far as their uncleanness would go. For them to even have the chance to conceive another child within that time. And most of these women on there, man, I'm telling you, man, they've probably making another man raise some of their children, man, and lying to them, making them think it's his. Women are good at being, oh, I'm about justice in public, but then if you see the stuff that they do behind the scenes, they're wicked demons, man. A lot of them, and that's all women. I ain't even gonna just be harsh on the Israelite woman in this case. That's all women, man. We've read what the Bible says about women. They're wicked. Let me get a scripture so that people don't say, this guy is just disgruntled. Well, if you think I'm disgruntled, think what you want to think, man. But the scriptures say what they say. The Bible says what it says, man. So is the Bible disgruntled too? Ecclesiastes chapter 25 and verse 19. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. So all women, all things that are wicked, that's small, man, considered to a woman's wickedness. All things, man. And women get jealous when they see younger women that are beautiful, more beautiful than them too. And it even goes into the scriptures about how a woman, a whorish woman or a harlot type of woman envies a beautiful and a meek woman, man, a righteous woman. And that's just facts. If all the women that were the most attractive women in this world was about the scriptures for real, and with Proverbs 31 and 10 women, or whenever you've seen a woman that, like, she might dress a bit more modest, but she's still the best looking woman in the room, all the women that dress like hoes are envious of her, man, and they try and corrupt her, man. They try and corrupt her. So they'll actually laugh at this woman for being a virgin. when she's 19 maybe. You know, they'll think that's funny because they done was getting spleeged off from like about 7 years ago, 3, 6, 5 years ago, been putting in big numbers. So they think it's funny for women to have respect for her body. Verse 24, of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. So don't say all you women ain't got nothing to say, man. You men ain't got nothing to say. Because if you women had the strength of men, right, you'd be doing even more wickedness than you do now. But one of the reasons why you don't do as much wickedness is because you know that physically you can't deal with men. You can't handle men in that physical realm, man. So that's why you manipulate situations to get another man to do your dirty work in a lot of cases, man. And if brothers want to see this channel, man, right, then read these comments, man. But these people don't know nothing, man. These women don't know nothing. Let me read this one. Unfucking acceptable. She should have taken it out on her husband for the disrespect of inviting that young lady to the house. So if this man would have got killed, all these women would have been happy, man. Right? Even though the woman, according to what their mind is too, which is not right judgment, but even how the so-called the woman committed adultery too, they would have been happy if just the man died, because they hate us, man. They hate the Israelite man's guts. That's just a fact, and that's why most of these women run around being hoes, dealing with as many men as they like for real, right? For whatever means, and then they want to try and have the nerve to try and go to a guy now that's got his life together after they've did all of that, and they can't do it no more because they ran out. Now they want to try and come to the man that's got other things in order and say, oh, he deserves this. This is all he deserves. My used up box that's been getting passed around for about 40 guys, and that's being nice with the numbers. Disgusting, man. But Yahweh's going to turn things around and give us the respect that we deserve, man. Once we deserve it, he's going to give us mercy for our patience, man, for having to deal with all of this BS. Micah chapter 7 and verse 8. Rejoice not against me, O mine enemy. Who's our enemy? Well, we've got Esau, right? But in this case, he's talking about the women of our nation. Rejoice not against me, O mine enemy. When I fall, I shall arise. So because we're in a fallen state right now, we don't really get to enjoy the laws of our Father Yahweh properly on the earth that he made for our sakes. So we have to be restricted on certain things. And it's actually hilarious, man, that women try and put a restriction on men that Yahweh didn't even put on them, right? Yahweh said that a man can have more than one wife. But these women, with the backing of Esau, Edom, the Caucasian man, who his real nationality is Esau, man, with the backing of him, they've tried to say, nah, have one. Which doesn't happen really anyway. Because it's something that Yahweh put within men to want to do the opposite. So it's going to just naturally happen on a certain occasions anyway, man. But then because Yahweh's punishing the men now, when the man does that, he's going to get judgments. When I sit in the darkness, Yahweh shall be a light unto me. I will bear the indignation of Yahweh because I have sinned against him until he plead my cause and execute judgment for me. He will bring me forth to the light, and I will behold his righteousness. Then she that is my enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is Yahweh thy power? So some of these women try and say stuff like, oh yeah, in the kingdom, I'll be down with you having multiple wives, but that's because they don't really think that the kingdom's going to come. So some of them are still going to try and book up when certain men that are of the Lord, they start seeing that loads of women are starting to gather around them, and they're going to be like, you ain't gonna be dealing with her. You ain't going to deal with her. You think you're going to be dealing with these women in the apocalypse? Nah. You only allow one wife. Some of them are actually going to have the nerve to say stuff like that. And guess what's going to happen? The man's going to look her in the eyes, cold as hell. Fuck you. You're not my wife now. Do one. Get lost, man. Kick rocks. Or he might just say something to that wife, right? And she might just die like Ananias and Sapphira, man. Like Ananias and Sapphira, like how that woman, man. Like how she just dropped dead straight away on the spot, man. If a woman decides to even think to be proud like that, man, which I wouldn't recommend for any women to think so stupidly in that time. Because there's going to be two different types of women in that time, man. Micah chapter 7 and verse 10 women, and Isaiah chapter 4 and verse 1 women. And I'd recommend that all you women in that time be Isaiah 4 and 1. Because the Micah chapter 7 and 10 women, the end of them is death. Micah chapter 7 and verse 10 again. Then she that is my enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is Yahweh thy power? Mine eyes shall behold her. Now she shall be trodden down as the mire of the streets, man. All you women in there don't have no proper understanding, man. You don't have no proper understanding. You think, oh, a man shouldn't be able to have more than one wife. A man shouldn't be able to have more than one wife. He's just gotta deal with me, right? But then most of you wives, most of you so-called wives out there, don't really care about your husband's needs properly anyway, man. You don't care about your husband's needs in any regard. Some of these women out there, their husband will be going to work 60-hour shift and all that, and then gotta come home and cook for himself and the family every single day. Some of these moms out there, won't even like teach their kid nothing. Want to teach their kid English and maths and nothing like that, extracurricular things outside of what the school teaches them, because they want to just have time to be doing whatever they want to be doing, man. Drinking coffee in a damn coffee shop, man. Every single day, running their mouth, chatting shit. Don't know how to wash clothes. Don't know how to cook nothing. Just running your mouths, man. Just running your mouths. This society is disgusting, man. And a lot of these women on here talking like they're good people, right? They ain't good either, man. They're trying to get on their high horse and all of that. But most of them have committed real adultery, man. Because if they're not still with the same man that they lost their virginity to, and he's still alive, that's adultery. And most women have did that several times, man. Several times. But I'm gonna end this video here, man. You men don't have no understanding, man. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. Shalom.